I tried a million things. Drop shipping, I tried selling on eBay and Amazon. I tried a lot of stuff until I finally found something that allowed me to flip the switch and just get out of this game of trading time for money. It's the only way to escape.
Welcome to that Wall Street Tribe. So excited to introduce you today, Mr. Luke Van Der Veer. Luke, glad to have you on the show today.
Russ, Joey, thanks for having me, guys.
Tribe, if you're sitting around wondering, why is everybody trading time for money, including myself, and I want to get out of that, yeah, that's why you're here. I know. Well, we brought a guest in that has gone through that same mental thought process and has come out the other side, and I want you to hear it. Luke, one day you're on the ride to work, and you're thinking to yourself, why is everyone else trading time for money, and how do I avoid doing that in my 30s, my 40s, and my 50s? What did you come up with?
I'm sitting there in traffic, just miserable on that commute, and just, it's gridlock. And I'm like, why am I doing this? This can't be life. Like, how is this the next 50 years? And I get into work. I just couldn't focus. I'm just sitting there like, I don't want to do anything. I'm staring at my computer, not wanting to log in. I went over and I started talking to some of my other colleagues to see, how do they do this for 40 years? I don't understand. Because everybody's older than me. I'm 30s. They're all 50s, 60s, nearing retirement. I'm the only one that's this young. And person after person shares basically the same story with minor tweaks of like, I wanted to do something else, but I never did it. Or I just didn't know what else to do. So I stayed here and I just, showed up every day and I did my 40 hours a week and I get paid for it. And I was like, I can't do this. I was miserable. I'm like, there's got to be another way. So I started Googling how to make money online, as people do. And I tried a million things. Drop shipping. I tried selling on eBay and Amazon. I tried affiliate marketing. I tried to create a Facebook ad agency, a Google ads agency. I tried a lot of stuff until I finally found something that allowed me to flip the switch and just get out of this game of trading time for money. It's the only way to escape.
If you've listened to our show for any length of time, you've heard us talk about infinite banking and how we were able to use that concept to create over $50,000 a month in passive income. But it's just not that easy to figure out, how does this all connect into my own personal system?
Stallion, that's why we created the passive income operating system, bro. It shows you how to turn active income into passive income. It makes all the steps come together. If you would like to get access to it as a podcast listener, we've never given this away in public before. Go to what'swhatwallstreet.com/PIOS.
What was that route that you eventually came about?
That route was search engine optimization, but applying it a little bit differently than most people do.
What do you mean by applying it differently? Because when I think of SEO, I think of like trying to enhance our website so people can find it for our mainline business. But that's obviously you're trying to build something that's passive. You didn't have a business. How did that apply in your situation?
Right. So, I mean, if I'm working for you, right, if I'm an agency or something and you're hiring me, you're paying me some amount monthly, probably $2,000-3,000, whatever it is. And I have to, do stuff for your website. I'm building your business. And then anytime you have a change to your website or something that you need, you're sending me all this homework to do. I'm like, there's got to be a way out of this. And the way out was, instead of building your business, I started building websites for just companies I essentially made up, generated leads for that niche. And then I'd rent the website to a business owner. So basically, if you think about, let's just take, let's break somebody's house. Your roof just broke at your home. If you don't know a roofer, where are you going to find one?
Yeah, you're going to the internet.
You're going Google?
Yeah, probably.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. What do you type into Google?
Roofing companies near me.
Cool. Okay. So then millions of results come up, like thousands of companies. Who are you picking?
With good someone at the top with good reviews. Yeah.
Okay. So safe to say probably one of the top 3 people?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So that's kind of what I figured out. If I build a website and I take over that top spot, it doesn't matter whether I'm a roofing company or not. People are still going to call me. So I basically turned myself into a digital lead broker. And when people would call in for that service, I just find a company to pair it with, and I charge them a monthly fee to rent that spot from me because I'm number one.
I want to break this back to you, just make sure I'm catching it. So
yep.
You were not a roofer in this situation.
No.
But you are good at going online and creating websites and getting it to the top of the search rankings. And by doing that, people are calling you or emailing or whatever to say, hey, I need this service. And you have now the leads, and you're going to a company. Let's just assume Joey on a roofing company. You're going to Joey and saying, hey, would you like X number of leads per week for some sort of value? Is that the
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically what it is. I had an agency originally. I learned how to do SEO by taking a million courses and piecing it all together. And then it was, again, just trading time for money. I was hired to work on a bunch of people's sites, and I could only handle so many, and it was still just the same. And then one night it hit me. One of my clients called me up in the middle of the night, woke me up out of sleep, and he was complaining about awesome results that I was getting him. And I was so angry. And I was like, how do I just not have to deal with this? And I thought, the only reason he has any control is because it's his site. But if it was mine, I wouldn't have to deal with this. So I started building websites in all the niches I was already in. And then once people started calling me, all the customers, because if your website's at the top, people go to you. Now I was like, I have the leads, I got the value. So now I just got to find a business owner I want to work with. And if he wants to pay me, I'll send him everything that comes in. So I just started doing that, making exclusive deals with business owners in different niches and different areas. And that was passive because I don't have to change the site. It's mine.
Well, okay. So this is somebody that's not knowledgeable in what you're saying. And, I'm asking on behalf of Russ. And it comes down to, to me, the idea of building a site and creating this SEO algorithm to get the most eyeballs on my site sounds like a lot of work. So how is it different? I understand that you've not built it for someone else's business. It's now your business. And I get that part. But how does it not turn into you trading more time for money in that realm?
It's based on the niches and the businesses you work with. So one of the things I found to having agency was just the level of competition. So if I did something like roofing in New York City, as you can imagine, roofing's an expensive thing. Millions of companies that are trying to compete for this. So it's not going to be very easy to be the top person when everybody's spending thousands of dollars a month to rank at that top spot. So instead, I would go into a market where there was no competition. And I'd pick niches that weren't maybe the most sexy and go into those because they don't have as much. So I try to find something where, it's a family-run business that's at the top and they've been sitting there for 20 years and they have an outdated website. They don't really have a lot of Google reviews. If the search results look like that, I know with this skill set, I could take that over and my website, even half doing it right, will still be above all of theirs relatively quickly, and I'm not going to have to do anything after it's up and at the top.
So in other words, you have to do the upfront to build the site, to build the domain authority or whatever you want to call it. And then, but because it was kind of no competition, it doesn't take a lot of maintenance thereafter. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what it is. So if you choose right the first time, you get to the top and then you don't have to do all this work that people normally have to do with a competitive market to keep it going. So then you could just sit and collect the money from it.
So let's give some context to this. So currently, how many of these sites are you running?
A lot. A couple hundred.
A couple of hundred. Okay. And how many of the couple hundred do you have tenants, digital tenants in essence on the other end of?
Around 85%. Some of them are still in progress.
Oh, wow. So 85% of the people, so just thinking about that, if these were rental homes and you had 200 rental homes and you have 170 something of those rented, you're doing pretty well. What's the margin, the annual margin? Because obviously we can think in the terms of rental houses. Oh, I may have mortgages. I may have some other expenses to run the property itself, property taxes, so forth and so on. What is the kind of margin that you're working on over and above what it's costing you to run each one of these sites?
The margin's 92%.
That's not bad. Is that good, Joey?
Is it? I don't know. Is that good? Is that okay? I mean, yeah.
Okay. Now you got my attention. Okay. I'm leaning in. I want to know more, right? So, you tried this for a couple. Tell us about. I guess I want to hear about some home runs, but I want to hear about the thing that's most likely, because I'm going to leave off this podcast and try to figure out how to go of, for us to do these. Right? That's the normal thing. You're selling a salesperson. So I'm the easiest. I'm like, Luke can do it. I can do it. Sure. Right.
Yeah.
No problem. SEO. I'm chat GPT in that right now, trying to figure out what I'm going to, what are the 10 best steps to do that. So
Here we go.
Walk me through this process. Exactly what am I going to need to learn and do in order to make this happen?
Right. So you need the SEO skill set to make this work. But assuming you have that, right? Number one, we got to find a niche, and we want something that's got a short sales cycle so we get paid quickly. Example for this, it's like if I generated leads for like pool construction, and you're a pool company, I give you that lead. You're going to take a while to close that. Like that pool's not going in tomorrow. So we're not getting paid on that for months. So if I'm trying to create a relationship with you and you're not getting paid on it yet, you're like, yeah, cool. Thanks for sending me that, but I haven't made anything. So you're not really enticed to make a deal. So I want something with a super short sales cycle, something where the person calls and we need whatever this is done like this week, ideally. We've got that. So there's one. We want a market that's going to be easier. Now, it kind of depends. You got to look at the different cities and things, but it could work anywhere with Google. So it doesn't matter, cities, countries, states, counties, whatever. But I don't want to be in like a New York City where there's millions of people. I want it less. So, 50,000 to like a couple 100,000, somewhere in that range. Generally a little bit easier for most things. Your niches like roofing are still going to be competitive. So you just skip that one. So there's the population thing. And then if I'm looking at, the number of businesses in that market, well, I don't want 50, 60, 70 businesses that I have to compete with, but I also can't have like 2 or 3, because what happens when I get those leads? If I talk to those people and those 3 people don't want it, I got nobody to work with. So I want a little bit less. So maybe, 10 businesses, 15 businesses, somewhere around there. And then looking at the search results. If I'm looking at the maps, I want people that don't have a website. Their website looks like it's terrible. Like it looks like it's from the 90s, like a one-pager. It's not set up right. It's not secure. There's bad content. They don't have any reviews. In the organic results, I want to see the same type of thing. And if I can find that, I just go city to city for whatever niche I'm looking at to see if I can find that. And if I find that, that's what I would call low-hanging fruit. And that's going to be an easy win. If you think of like a range of competition from this is going to be number 1 in like 2 weeks versus this is going to take a year and a half, I want to be as close to that start of the range as possible. So the better it matches that kind of criteria, it's going to be that situation where once you get it to the top and it's pulling in leads, it's not going to require maintenance after that. So then I can just collect money from that and move to the next one.
All right, Luke, that's perfect. So here's what I'm hearing, that the business needs to be service-based. It needs to be pretty local, mom and pop. There needs to be enough businesses doing this very specific niche, 15 to 25, but not like 50 or 60, right? Or not 3. Also, it needs to be able to pay quickly. What are some of those other things that are going to make the perfect business that I'm going to want to build a site for?
Is it phone driven? Right. I don't want something where it's walk-in. You could do this for like a nail salon or something, but if I'm, sending customers to a business, I got to be able to track that. And it's not easy to do that if it's like a walk-in, because I got to keep following up with them and I don't want to do it. So you'd rather have something where people are calling so I can track it with phone tracking software. Record it. I know the call came from me. I know where it went. I know how they answered and so forth. So that's one. And then also just, the niche itself. This is kind of general. You have to really look at the different cities and things. But if a niche is worth a ton of money, like it's got that higher ticket value, it's going to be better suited for this, because if you did like men's haircuts, I'd have to generate 1 billion haircuts to make any kind of money at, $20 a pop. But if I did like plumbing, $300, $400, $500 job, I don't have to generate that many and send that to a business to be able for them to make a ton of money and me to make some too.
Yeah. And to be in a service base, right? Like they probably have a lot more in the labor, not necessarily the cost of the product or whatever that they're serving. So there's a lot more margin probably on that business. You said haircuts. If they were selling the materials, like to cut Joey's haircut, right? So the person makes high margin on Joey's haircut because they use this thing called a Flowbee. And then they don't have to worry about like any technique or anything. So they can just mow that thing down. As you can tell, And they actually could probably even sell the bowl that they put on his head as they do the cut. But
I'm from that guy with the hat on.
I'll digress. All right, here's what I would love to do, Trav. I would love to put Luke on the spot, and let's make him show us how to do this on live. And this is online right now. If you're watching on YouTube, click over, because this is the opportunity to see what this happens. So, all right, look, I'm pulling up Google right now.
Okay.
I want to see an example. I want to understand how this works. What do I do?
Okay, so we're going to have to test me. So I have a website. We'll use this as an example. carwrapaz.com.
Okay.
Oh, well, there you are. All right, so I'm number one. Car Wraps in Phoenix.
Oh,
I'm right there.
So this is your site, Car Wraps in Phoenix.
That's me. Yeah.
And it literally is number one on the list.
Yeah.
Are you paying, like most of the time when you're at the top, like you're paying tons of money in Google Ads or whatever?
Well, it's not an ad, right? That's organic.
Oh yeah. It doesn't have like sponsor or anything on there.
You know what happened is because you've searched this before, so now it pops up in a weird spot above the maps because it's serving what Google wants you to see. But anybody, you could try that from anywhere in the country, and that'll be the number one spot if you type in, Car Wraps Phoenix or any of the keywords major.
Yeah, and I've seen this. This is businesses that usually it's like print shops. I had a buddy of mine run a print shop, and he started creating this. So this is like something people do, especially businesses are wrapping their cars. I even see now people with these fancy cars that they're putting on that gunmetal finish or something like that they're wrapping the car with that, so that they're protecting the paint jobs, which is crazy. Like these hundreds and hundreds of $1,000 cars, they're just wrapping to protect the paint jobs. So when they want to sell them, they don't have to worry about nicks and stuff like that. So this is just a business that you created, and people call this number on here, and it goes to who?
It just goes to a local business that I created a deal with in the area. So, that business picks up, they handle the work, and I don't have to do anything. So the call tracking number will forward it automatically to them. And anything that goes through the quote form goes to them. They get all the leads, and they just pay a monthly fee.
There was nothing worse than walking into class when you're in school and the teacher saying, "Pop quiz day." Why? Because you were unprepared. Are you unprepared, though, for financial freedom?
Don't be. Find out how close you are by taking our 30-second quiz at wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/quiz.
Tribe, if you're still searching for what is going to be that passive income source that's going to push you over the hump, it's going to help you become financially free, head over to the Art of Passive Income podcast, where our friend Mark Podolsky breaks down his amazing land flipping method.
You've heard us talk about how this one strategy has created over $30,000 a month in passive income for Russ and I. Do yourself a favor, wherever you listen to podcasts, go hit the subscribe button to the Art of Passive Income podcast today.
So you're tracking, I'm assuming, the number of clicks on the phone, the clicks on the form, so that if they come back to you and want to renegotiate, what sort of traffic they're really getting.
Right.
And what is that worth to you in terms of like a contract with one of these companies? Like as one example, I mean, obviously all of them probably vary, but for something like that, what is that worth to you?
Well, so it's funny. This is the first one I ever did. So this one's at $500 a month. They get way more than $500 a month worth. And I just never increased it because I was like, whatever. And I just built more. So I should charge way more. And I could, because they're number one for everything. But that's what it is. $500 a month that I don't have to do anything for. Just pays.
So what is the range? So this is $500 a month. What's the most you're charging on any of those? You said you had like 200 sites or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, anywhere from $500 to like $5,000 on a flat fee. Some of the sites I have it as a revenue share or a commission because it just pays more on some of the bigger high ticket niches.
Yeah, which is something that Joey and I've always wanted as business owners. We've always hated the marketing side of the business, is because, everybody with a laptop and a, millennial status has been able to tell us how they can create unlimited leads for our business.
Yeah.
And they show us pretty graphics, they do all the stuff, and all we do is just put down a credit card, and it's $5,000 a month, $7,500 a month, $10,000 a month. Like, it's just constant flowing out, but nothing.
Do you ever get anything back?
Very little, right? Like, I mean, the things that we've done ourselves have always been the greatest results, but yet we're like, man, we've got to solve this online, game where we're out there. And so we've always wanted the rev share. Like I would 100%, like, you and me go into business. Everything you create, I'll give you X percentage of. But now it's on you to manage the process. If you get nothing, that's it. Like I get nothing, you get nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so this is great. So so you like the pitch. If I had these leads coming in that work for you and I was just like, hey, here's all this, pay me X amount of money, you're cool with it.
Tribe, I'm putting Luke on the spot right now. Like, go out and build a business. We do infinite banking. We do financial coaching. We have masterminds. Like right now, Luke, go out and create the site, bring in the customers, and the three of us are going to be partners. And if you get any better at podcasting, you're going to become a co-host on this thing.
Well, I appreciate it.
Man, this thing just took a turn. I don't understand what's going on. Oh, Luke, just a question real quick.
Yeah.
That example, that car wrap website, how long did it take you to get to a point where you could then turn around to them and say, hey, this is ranking here? Like, what was the time frame it took on that one? And then maybe what's an average that you see for this?
That took 18 hours over the course of 4 months.
18 hours a day?
No, 18 hours total over the course of 4 months. And that's not normal. That's just what happened.
Like that's a lot, but less or more?
I would say it's less. The time overall, the 4 months is right. Somewhere 90 days to 4 months will be the average if you find something that's easier, like we talked about. The time to put it in was just, building the site, get the content, do some of the things to get it to rank. It'll be a little bit more than that, but it's not going to take more than, 5-10 hours a week if you know what you're doing.
Okay. And so there was one thing you said earlier that said, as long as you have the skill set of SEO.
Right.
I'm listening. I'm super interested. And I'm like, I can't spell SEO. How do I get those skills? Is that something that you teach? Is that something that you recommend certain, courses or what have you? How do I learn that?
Yeah. I mean, I teach that. There's two ways. I think about this anytime I want to learn a new skill. It's like everything that I've ever taught, you can go get for free on your own right now. But it's going to be, how long does it take you to get all that and then figure out how to piece it together correctly to make it work? And that's the thing I never realized initially. So like all those businesses I was trying to make money originally, what happened was me trying to figure it out. And I could never figure it out. So I just kept failing and failing and failing. And people are like, dude, you're an idiot. Why do you keep doing all these different businesses? And I'm like, I want to be free. I don't want to do this anymore. And finally, I started paying people to, just teach me. And then I started getting better results. It still wasn't quite what I wanted, but at least I got closer. And like SEO, I mean, you could go take 1 million courses and try to piece it all together. Or, I can just show you how to do it. We can get results a lot quicker.
Well, I think that makes sense, Russ.
Yeah, I don't want to try to figure it out. This is something that I'm limited in my ability, and I know that about myself at this point. But I do think that this is a brilliant concept because there's so many places that businesses are having success, but yet they're having success because of word of mouth. They're having success because of referrals. They're not great at online. I mean, we're an example. I mean, people find us through the podcast. I mean, it's funny that we're talking about this, but we started doing a podcast and people started calling us and we were like, how'd you find this? Like, which one of our friends told you about us? And they were like, oh no, I listened to your podcast. They're like, well, how did you get a link? Because we didn't send you a link.
Right.
We don't know who you are. And they're like, it's called the internet, bro. Like we were looking up podcasts on financial freedom or passive income or an infinite banking concept. And you came up and we started listening. We're like, what? That doesn't make sense to us. So I know there's businesses out there just as dumb as we were then and not much smarter now that are looking like, hey, how could I expand my business if I could get this online traffic in addition to my word of mouth and repeat customer base? So like, I would love to be able to help solve for this. But to Joey's point, like, what if I am not savvy in that? Like you were an HR guy, like you said that you first started out and you built, Facebook ad strategy and you started trying to create a marketing company and all these things. You must have had some sort of bent there. Is that why, like, if you already have that, then it's a success? Or have you ever taught someone like us, Neanderthals who are like, Google, what is this?
The funny thing about this is there was a drastic transition when I realized that it's the skills that pay the bills, and I didn't have them. I didn't have any kind of special anything. I've never built a website. I'd never done any of that stuff. So everything I tried after the first couple of failing, I just started paying people to teach me how to do whatever it was. And that got better results. So like the Facebook ad agency, I paid somebody to teach me how to do that. And I got it. I started making money. And then I realized this isn't passive. Killed it. And then Google Ads, I paid somebody to teach me how to do it. And I started building it. And I was like, oh, sweet, I'm making money again. Not passive. Killed it. And then it was just the same thing. I just kept doing this. And eventually I found something that was actually passive. So I stuck with it. But it was just paying a lot of different people to learn the pieces so that I don't have to fail and, take forever. I want the stuff now. I don't want to wait 30 years to get results.
Well, are you the unicorn, Luke? Like, can you give me some examples of other people that maybe that you've taught that have had success? Because the thing about this is what I have found is that successful people find ways to have success, and in spite of maybe their, lack of understanding of a specific topic.
Yeah.
For those of us who are concerned that maybe we just don't fit that mold, are there other people out there who are not unicorns who are having success in this?
Oh God, there's so many. So many of my clients absolutely crush it. I love it. And there are two types. So this is kind of interesting. I never could have anticipated what would happen with this, because you can apply it in two ways, right? Like I, as the 9-to-5er, was just trying to escape the rat race. I'm just trying to get out. I'm like, I will do whatever I have to do to make money and get out. I don't care what it is. And then we have business owners who just wanted to generate more leads. You could use the same skill set to help both people. The one person can escape by helping the businesses, and the business can grow by just applying it to themselves. So it was kind of cool. So I could serve both of those people. There's a lot of people that have come in from all over the place doing different things. I had one girl hear me on a podcast, and I ended up speaking to her on the phone. Oh God, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago now. And she said that, I'm a nurse. I'm working full time. It was during the whole pandemic thing. So she's all masked up, working crazy hours. And she's like, I just don't like this. I can't do this. I got to do something else. And I was like, well, here's what it is. Here's what you would do. And she's like, I love it. She doesn't do anything for 8 months. And I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character. So I was a little disappointed in myself. I was like, did I like not allow the right person into this community? And then all of a sudden, something happens. I don't know what that trigger is for her, but something happens at work. She starts showing up, starts applying the stuff, quits her job 90 days later, flies back home to China, doesn't tell her mom why she's there. And her mom, after her hanging out for like 2 months, just chilling, her mom's like, do you like not have a job? Like you got to like go start working again. You can't just do this. And she's like, no. I'm free now. I don't have to do this anymore. I quit. I left. I quit the nursing career. And she's like, well, you've overstayed your welcome. Go back home. We've had enough. And she told me this, and I was like, this is amazing. I didn't even know. She told me like months after all this stuff happened, but she was able to just walk away from her nursing career. And it was so funny that it was just kind of like a switch. Like she was here, just didn't apply anything for a while. Then when she actually did, she was out. And then I had another guy. This is a funny one too. He started building his first site, and he was trying to find a business to rent the site to. And like, he's got tons of customers coming in, and he's like, all right, I got to find a business right away, so all these people don't just like not have anyone to work with. And he reaches out to some local companies. They're kind of in that spot where they're not really interested in growing. They're kind of happy where they are. Definitely not the type of business we want to work with, because we blow stuff up. He sees a bunch of national companies. He's like, okay, well, I can't really get in touch with the person who would work with for them. And he's like, you know what? Forget it. I'll just build the company myself. He takes the leads. He starts building the thing. And the first year, he does $400,000 off one website. Just his lead gen site that he created. The page, it has 7 pages on it. He picked the right niche, following the process. He's crushing it. So he does this. This year, I had no idea this was happening. I reached out to him and I'm like, hey, it's been a long time. What's going on? He tells me this, and I was like, dude, we got to talk. He hops on a call with me, and I'm like, so what's going on this year? $520,000 year to date until like mid-December is when we chatted. And I'm like, you just did the one site. You didn't do anything else. I'm like, what happened? And he's like, I couldn't find anybody. So I hired somebody to build the thing. And that's the revenue. So we're a little over $500,000. And I'm like, what? I'm like, but I thought you wanted something passive. And he's like, well, I mean, I can hire somebody and put them in now, and I'll just build more sites later because this is making so much. So it's just funny because there's a lot of ways you can go with it. And if you apply the process, this stuff just works.
I see application. Yeah. Just like that, like for business owners who need to grow their own personal businesses, figuring this out for themselves. In addition to the byproduct of that would be enhancing and building sites that could create passive income streams on the side. And most of the people that are listening to this are trying to build multiple different businesses. And so it's kind of like, man, wouldn't that be a cool opportunity? Well, if someone wanted to figure out how to be coached up on this, clearly I'm going to need to learn more about this. Where can we connect them, Joey and Luke? How do people go through this process? What does that look like?
Yeah, so you guys can do the wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/website rental coaching. Website rental coaching is the name of my program, WRC. You just head to the video on the page. It shows you my exact process. We'll walk through everything. Like, here's what I do. Here's how I do it. Here's all the people that have crushed it. And then if you want to talk with us, you can just apply, hop on a call, and we'll have a conversation, see if it's a good fit.
And about how long do you think it takes for somebody from zero to being able to start their first site using your program? How long will it take typically somebody that's engaged?
I mean, a few days to get a website up. I guess it's how quickly can you go through training, because that's mostly on demand. We have a community too, and coaching and things, but a lot of the core stuff is on demand. So you can just go through that as fast as you want to go through it. I've seen people do things in a couple of days. The process to get something to the point where it's rentable and you can make money with it, it's probably going to be 90 days to 4 months-ish.
And just so that we set good expectations, right? We don't want to assume that everybody's a winner in this thing. I don't know if you've kept statistics on this, but people have gone through your program. What percentage of them would you say really are having success in this as compared to those who just start it and for whatever reason fizzle out? And a lot of times that's just because they don't finish the content. They don't actually do the work. I get that. But I would love to have, for people to have expectations of, hey, not everybody's going to have success. What would you say is a good percentage of people?
I always have a tough time with this one because it really depends on the person. It's like the process works, but is the person going to put in the work? It's like, will they follow it? The people who follow the process will always generate leads and get some kind of money. It's not an if, it's a when. It's how long is it going to take, right? So they might not be able to do it in 90 days. Maybe it takes them 5 months because they were a little bit slower to learn the stuff and apply the things. That's not the problem. It's just, again, timing. And I think one of the things I struggle with is because I'm teaching people a skill set and they can do whatever they want with it. It's like, are they going to tell me? If they crush it, I hope they do. I see people all the time that post wins and things, but then there's people like Bill, who was the last guy I mentioned. I hadn't talked to him in 2 years, and I'm like, dude, hey, what's going on? Just wanted to check in, and all of a sudden he's doing great. But I didn't know, and I'm like, yo, you got to tell me, man. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, this has been very eye-opening. It's one of those kind of things that I don't think many people understand. And so for you to shed light on what is actually available to the average person, I think is pretty inspiring. And I know Russ is going to be stuck the rest of the day trying to search this thing up. So thank you for being willing to come on. And Tribe, I pray that this has been valuable to you, that you may have found your path to financial freedom through today's content, today's podcast with Luke. If it was valuable, if you'll share it, if you'll get the word out about this to other people who may be stuck, just like Luke was in that 9-to-5, in the gridlock traffic, saying there's got to be a better way, get them over to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com / website rental coaching and take the first step. Thanks as always, and have an amazing day.
This has been the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the show to break free of the Wall Street mindset and begin building wealth on your own terms in places you understand so that your wealth will never run dry. See you next episode.